Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, how we doing? Thank you for kicking off the contribution, Simon Morning, with your super sticker. Thank you, Dale. Said like the video on your way in. Thank you so much. And thank you, David Perry. So I'm going to catch the replay later. Just wanted to say a quick hello. I appreciate that. So thank you so much. Okay. This show might be a little short. I'm not going to have a show Monday. I know it's the call in, but it still might be a little bit short. So, no, I didn't say we're not going to have a call in. I just said it's going to be short today. Thank you, Gregory. Said, how do you keep your sanity among goofy stuff? I don't. It's a myth that I'm saying. That's a whole myth. Let me show. Okay. So this is a post. This was posted about 6 days ago about this chick here. She's 19, and this is what it says. A woman has been charged with aggravated assault and arson for allegedly deliberately setting her ex-boyfriend's bed on fire while he, his new girlfriend, and her baby were asleep. 19-year-old Derrica Wiggins was recently booked in the Shelby County Jail for an incident that occurred back in March in Memphis. Fortunately, there were no injuries as the blaze was put out before firefighters reached the location, according to investigators. Unnamed victim recalled hearing a lighter sound near their bedroom door and glimpsing someone peeking through a gap in the door. Mistakenly assuming it was her boyfriend's brother, she woke up to find the comforter aflame. The boyfriend extinguished the fire and confronted his ex in the driveway. Wiggins was captured on Ring video going into the home as well as exiting, according to the officials. Per investigators, the fire caused considerable harm to the comforter and resulted in smoke damage to the bedroom. Wiggins faces charges of reckless burning and arson. I don't know why it's not attempted murder. Um, I don't know why this would not be attempted murder. But more egregious than this crime that this fool committed is the feedback. Not everyone playing about their feelings. I ain't saying what she did was right, but she also wasn't wrong, and I understand. Y'all need to stop cheating on people. You never know how they react to that type of betrayal. Be careful who y'all be cheating on. Free her respectfully. Not saying that's right, but I do understand. Teach your sons to have integrity and to be honest men. Not everybody's daughter is stable or willing to be emotionally and mentally abused. Stop playing with people's head, heart, and emotions. Only one female so far got some sense. Folks in the comments justifying it because of her feelings ain't right in the head. Ain't no man in the world can ever make me go that crazy. It's not worth it. Okay. And then not to mention the comments that are replies that agree, like free her respectfully. Exactly. Like, I don't be buying that. Donald says, but Crimson, obviously, she is mentally ill, even though she has not been diagnosed. I'm going to reject that premise because what this does is still an excuse. And when I say excuse, if she is mentally ill, that means she can't necessarily be held accountable for her actions because he said he was being sarcastic. See, sometimes you can't read sarcasm. But it was the comments that made me tired. It was the comments that made me tired. The comments So the only conclusion that we can all draw as a collective of people, and I want the women watching me. This is a call-in show, and I'm beginning to see that I'm not gonna get the calls that I need to get on this show. Cause originally I was actually thinking like real-time one-to-one coaching. That was actually the intent of starting the um call-in show. That was my original intent. It's still my intent to get the kind of calls that everybody can benefit from, because the women would maybe have some questions or whatever, like a short, almost a one-to-one counseling session, sort of in the vein of remember the first call that I had with the young lady? That. Um, I'm starting to realize that's not wanted. And specifically, it's not wanted from a woman. It's okay to get from a man because, and this, I came to this epiphany like 2 days ago, that they want it from a man because women seek men's validation. They don't necessarily seek a woman's validation, particularly in the same way. Um, so, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Um, the commentary, and like I said, we 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 can only draw one conclusion at this point. And that is that women are perfect. Women are perfect. There is absolutely no action except liking a man, liking, defending, wanting, having any empathy for, having any love for men. That's where they draw the line. But aside from that, there is absolutely, I'm coming to I'm I'm coming to understand through these different, like, real life stories, not even the skits, the real stories. The real stories like this one, the real videos when they are abusing children, the real stories when they are deleting people, the real, not the skits, not the hypothetical scenarios, but the real time, real life situations. It literally does not matter what a female does specifically to a man. Children are not exempt, but specifically to a man, she's never wrong for it. And that just, that absolutely blows my mind. And it gives me a sense of hopelessness, because if the general body of females, of hyenas, which appear to be the majority, we want to say it's a loud minority. It is not, it's a majority. um, are willing to excuse deletions and attempted deletions as long as you have aimed that vitriol to a man, any man, then you are okay. To condone, and this is not the first time, this is more like the almost the 10th time that I have witnessed these women jump in these different comment sections. This is why I focus on comment sections. The reason why I will focus on a comment section, and even if it's a quote unquote skit, I will still cover it at times because it's not the content, the actual content itself. I'm more interested in the voice of the people, so to speak. The thousands of comments, hundreds of comments that women will flood a comment section, and the majority of them will share a single destructive thought, or they will parrot a destructive concept, or they will push a destructive narrative and then congratulate one another on the narratives, even down to deleting people, deleting other people. They find this to be acceptable. It was acceptable. This post has 19,338 likes, but it doesn't say how many comments necessarily. Let me see. It may say how many comments. I'm not sure. No, it don't really say how many comments it is. But thousands, tens of thousands of women condone the highest forms of misandry, the highest forms of any level of man hatred, any misandry, from small to the biggest, which you can do is delete somebody. And I'm worried about that. I want to know why if she can justify something with her emotions or her imagination, then it's okay. So many of those comments was like, I understand. You understand doing something that would potentially end the lives of 3 people, one of them a baby? You understand that? Like, you get that? To the point where, like, she shouldn't be punished because all she did all she did was try to off a man. What's that? What's that? You know, I'm putting the link in just a few minutes early, not too early, because I'm actually not going to stay here very long. I just want to pin this comment. Just want to pin the link. Like, to the point where I'm a little worried. I need the women to comment today. I want to know, what is it that would why is every level of man hatred acceptable? Why? Why is any and every instance of man hating, not only is it acceptable, but encouraged? I want to know. It's hard for people because it's a female that was trying to offer male, because it surrounds this whole narrative that women, even when they are aggressors, are not aggressors. Even when they are not aggressors, they are aggressors. They are not, because women can't be aggressors, and men can't be victims of women. Men can only be victims of other men. Women can't be aggressors ever, ever, even if she's clearly the aggressor. And men can never be victims ever, unless his aggressor is a male. If his aggressor is a female, he did something to make her do that. You understand? This is why the comments was like that. She was justified in trying to delete him because he had, quote unquote, hurt her. And if you hurt her, because they were saying it, you playing with, quote unquote, playing with people's feelings, right? If you hurt her, then that means your life, even your life, is forfeit for doing that. Like, we gotta come to grips with that. I'm gonna need, as disturbing as that is, I need everybody within the sound of my voice coming to grips with that. Hit the link. Hit the link or be blocked. We will not. Hit the link or be blocked. Two choices. Anyway, I'm gonna get to the super chats in a minute. I'm gonna bring up the first call. I'm gonna bring up Black Goku. Hey, how you doing? You ready?
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
ma'am.
ready? Okay. How you doing today, Black Goku?
I am doing well, and excuse me for going back and forth. I'm actually at work, but
I
everything
see.
you, everything you said was spot on. And this goes back to what Kevin Samuel said during when he was alive, especially in the black community. We're used to one-way aggression, and it goes from women to men. Now, if we were to switch genders and say that it was a woman that cheated on a man, and a man were to do the same thing to her, I'm pretty sure the people in the comment section will not justify him doing the same thing. In fact, he's expected to control his emotions and just continue to take a loss and move on. But that's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah, this is absolute fact. And it's not just the reversal of gender
Yep.
that's problematic here as well. Even though that's a excellent point, we know for a fact that had the tables been turned, that comment section would not nearly be as supportive of a man's actions. He'd be a monster.
Yep.
He'd be all types of monsters for, and sassy and emotional, for having an emotional reaction to his woman cheating on him. But I want to thank you for popping up. Did you? I want to give you the last word too.
Yeah. This is all I have to say is this is pretty much one of the main reasons why more and more men are checking out of the dating market. Hence why you have men going their own way, why you have passport bros. I mean, there are all types of movements and ideology, and this is something that men have been talking about in these spaces since for a couple of years now. So all I have to say is stuff like this. And my prediction is it's going to get worse before it gets even better, and that's pretty much it for now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for popping in and giving us a little bit of your time. I'm gonna go
You're
ahead and
welcome.
bring up Miss Fem Gems, but thank you so much, Black Oku.
Mhm. You're welcome.
Hey, Miss Fem, how you doing, sweetheart?
Auntie Kendra, how are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Look at you, looking cute.
Thank you. Afterwards, what I wanted to say is that I know what's been trending right now is like Chantel's been talking about class and stuff like that, and you've been talking about it. And I just wanted to say, like, we as Black women, we do the most unthinkable things. We have no class. We Everything we do is so disturbing. I mean, we take advantage of our criminal justice system, Carly Russell. We worship our men's death, Kevin Samuels. We twerk in front of our children, little James. We slander our men on media in real life. It's heartbreaking. I mean, like, I can understand the hopelessness. I can understand all of it. I don't even know what really to say, but I do know that it's not justified. What she did was not justified in any way, in any shape. I understand the vitriol you have sometimes, the way you express yourself, it's necessary. You have amplified your voice. It's made me wanting to amplify my voice as well. I don't want you to be discouraged or have no hope because you've changed my life for the better. I know it's so discouraging in our community, but I want young ladies that may watch this, I want you to understand this. I want you to say this to yourself. Feelings arise and subside, okay? Learn to have emotional intelligence and maturity. Like that, what happened in that situation didn't have to happen. Now there's another broken home. Now we're perpetuating another cycle. I mean, it was broken to begin with, but you know what I'm saying? It's just we be on demon time, not me, but these women be on demon time. And it's serious. The way she conducted herself was unacceptable. It's deplorable. It's terrible. So that's all I wanted to say. And I understand. Um, yeah. I love you so much, though.
I love you too, sweetheart. And I want to give you the last say before I go on my rant because I got a rant coming. Um, but here's the thing with it. I think the thing that has the realization that I'm coming to that I don't really
Uh-oh.
this goes so well beyond any uh, any of the bad habits, the twerking and so forth. When we start congratulating and condoning the actual literal harm of men because of a narrative that women believe, then I don't know if we come back from that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we as a group come back to that from that. How do you come back from a mindset that says we hate men to such a degree that if we start deleting them and possibly their offspring, then that's okay. And we're justified because we're women and we have emotions. And sometimes you know, my emotions get the best of me. And if my emotions get the best of me, then I'm justified. Point blank, period. I'm justified to act however irrationally and even criminally based on my emotional state. And I should not be punished. I should not be reprimanded. I should not be held accountable. I should not be, brought to the front of the class to talk about and discuss why I had the reaction that I had. There's absolutely, and this is why I said women can do no wrong, because at this point, we have to conclude women are perfect. There's no way around it. There's no way actually around this, that there's actually no act that she can do that can absolutely be considered to be wrong without any wiggle room or ability to justify or rationalize her actions so that she's right, and whoever she perpetrated her, whatever on, they're wrong, or some external factor is the culprit that made her do
Right.
whatever it was that she did, whether it be the circumstances, her trauma of the past, no matter what it is, she's never actually at fault for
Yeah.
anything. But I'm gonna give you the last word, and then I'm gonna bring
Oh,
someone else up.
I don't know the full answer to this whole complex problem, but I do know is that we do have to constantly speak up. That I do think that will effectuate change. I mean, policies and things can eventually change. It may not be seen in my generation, your generation, but I think eventually things can change. But we do know, obviously, the marital laws and parental laws all favor women because it benefits us, unfortunately. And I strongly and I hate it so much, but it's just the way it is because it's unfortunate. But I do think we constantly have to have these conversations and constantly like raise our voice, and eventually in due time it can change. I mean, it can, but yeah. But thank you so much for this. Thank you for allowing me to come up. Thank you. Love you, Crimson Knights. Bye.
All right. Thank you, sweetheart. Bye-bye. Um, this other in this troll, but please, mods, they have not. I don't see nobody in my background in the back room with that name, so they have not clicked the link. So block them. I don't have time. Like, y'all be coming through at the very wrong time, and then too cowardly to hit the link. So we're not gonna do it. I'm not gonna allow you to come in my chat room and twerk, especially on a call-in day when the link is pinned to the top. We not twerking. It is what it is. Not allowed to twerk in my chat room. And don't hit the link. Matter of fact, while I'm looking, let me hit these super chats real quick. Hey twin, thank you. Says Civilitier Mortis. I probably botched that. We're seen as dead in the eyes of the law. Their laws, not ours. Appreciate you. Is it not working? Is it not responding? There you go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What's a king to a god? Said fact CC. One of my exes put a PFA out on me, and she was the one hitting me. When I explained the story to other women, the first question they asked was, "What did you do?" Exactly. Thank you, Fast Lines and Art Design, so that hatred for Black men has no limits. Thank you, HVAC, so hyenas are truly sick in the head. This is why passport bros exist. As a young man, it's time to call the game over and move on. Ain't no saving this. Thank you, what's trending now, so the next George Floyd will be female. Thank you, Reagan. So quiet as the kept, they don't care about themselves. So of course, men and children are nothing to them. I'm tired of it, and them. Any who love your channel have learned so much. It's been life-changing, truly. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Miss Reagan. Because I can't see, and I hope that they're blocked because I can't see that. Not from StreamYards, anyways. Thank you, Rayvel, for your super stick. I greatly appreciate you. All right, so thank you all for those contributions. Let me bring up Brother Milton real quick. How you doing, Milton? How are you?
I'm so well. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
I did not expect to get on. You say hit the link. I thought you were talking to me. I didn't want to get blocked, so I hit the
No,
link.
no, no. I actually was
Um,
talking to troll.
my comment is real simple. We need to stop being crappy to each other. We need to do better as a man. It's my responsibility to take care of the community, no matter what this ratchet nonsense is. And I take full responsibility, and I do what I can. Outside of that, I don't pay that foolery no mind. I love my Black women. You're not a queen unless you have a king, so I can't really call them queens. So I love my Black women, and I'm here for them, and that's all I got. And thank you, Crimson, for putting me on the hot seat for hitting that link, because I just would have been watching.
Oh, it's no problem. But here's the thing. I don't mind men in general, Black men a little bit more specifically, saying that they take accountability for, or at least accountability for their part on the state of the community, the state of families, the state of, I don't mind because everybody has some accountability. My channel is built specifically for the accountability of women. So I leave men to hold men's feet to the fire about their part of it. But at the same time, the reason why I have my channel and I say the things that I say is because the ability of the men that the community is like it is. The reason I have a little bit of an issue with that statement in general is because it assumes that Black men have had the run of our communities for maybe the past 60 to 100 years. And that's not necessarily so. The Black community has been a matriarchy for several generations now. So if it had been patriarchy, hell in a handbasket, then my channel probably wouldn't exist. And there would be probably a whole lot more men's channels talking about how to hold men's feet to the fire on the time, at the same time, uh, again, the reason why my channel exists the way that it does, and the reason why I wrote the book the way that I did, and I focus on women the way that I do, isn't women accountable, because women have had the run of the community. And not good women, quote unquote. The community would still be in shambles because women don't have the system, order, and structure that it takes to actually make. And I use that word specifically. We have a bunch of hyenas that have run the Black community, much like a hyena clan, where you have the females on top, the men on the bottom, and so while the men may have their own set of accountability, I'm not denying that the men know what their problems are, right? But I gotta, at this point, I personally have to put the lion's share, no pun intended, of responsibility for the way the community is on females. It's on the women, because that lack of accountability and that we never do nothing wrong type situation, along with the extreme misandry the other man in and around their lives, I gotta put it on the women. So while I agree with you partially, that's my pushback to that statement, respectfully.
Respectfully.
All right. But I'm gonna give you the last say, and then I'm gonna move on. I'm only gonna have maybe one or two more people. So
I appreciate your show. I appreciate your content. I like what you do. Keep up the good work. And everybody in the chat, y'all be safe out there. Happy New Year. I'm gone.
all right. Thank you so much, Milton. All right, I'm gonna bring up a lady and a man. I'm only gonna take two. So let me bring up Miss Lee. How you doing there, Miss Lee? You muted, beloved.
Say, I was like, can you hear me? This is my first time
Yes,
doing streams. I just got an iPhone, so I'm new to both of them. But
okay.
nevertheless, I called in. I was nervous too, but I just wanted to call in because it was seeming like you were looking or trying to feel like kind of aggravated or kind of discouraged with women. That was the vibe I was getting. I was looking at you because I've been following you for a while, and you've really become like a big sis auntie to me. So I'm like, no, I said, let me call just so like what you. I could I put it in the comments, but you're a blessing. You're a blessing, and I'll be quick. Like my backstory, just why you such are a blessing because I am going through a divorce and it's hard. It's hard managing being new to going to the dating scene or whatever, and what is the right thing to do? Because basically, I was married for 8 years, so all this dating stuff is new, and I'm like, this what men want these days? This what we gotta do to get attention or to get a man to like you? And it's just crazy. Put it like that. It's just totally crazy. But it's
You
good to
blanked
get.
out for me. So go
Oh,
back over that last few sentences. I'm sorry.
okay, I'm sorry. I was just saying that you are a blessing to me because basically I'm going through divorce. But I was married for 8 years. So basically brand new to the dating scene and just seeing how things are now, how women are carrying themselves. And it's just I'm like, oh, that's what we do now?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how it's supposed to be. And it's it's not me, put it like that. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna be single for a while now if this is what men are desiring. But it's good, basically, all that to say to see platforms like yours who remind me, just let me know I'm not crazy for thinking like the twerking and just out there and I can't go to Cheesecake Factory and just the list goes on and on of the foolishness and the mindset of the modern woman or women, younger women these days. I'm in my 30s, I'm in my mid 30s, really my late 30s. I'm 36, so in the late part of 30, and it's just brand new. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what it is, and this is what men want, and because obviously it's not. The more I get attached to the right channels and the right people, the right groups of people, understand that okay, my thought process, quote unquote, old school, is not all the way crazy. It's not. It's not. It's still the better way to think. And just like just being connected to the right mindset people, and just getting that reminder, okay, Aubrey, you're not losing it. You're not tripping. So it's really just an encouragement to you, and just a thank you for all you do, and don't stop. Don't stop.
I'm gonna try not to stop, but I do want to have a slight conversation, if you're willing, Miss Lee.
Of course, yes, go ahead.
May I ask? You said you were 36. You said you had been married for 8 years. May I ask why you're getting a divorce?
Yes, I went to getting divorced because I can't work on it by myself. It takes two. I believe it takes two. At this, I've been separated. I've been married. I'm still legally married. Honestly, I'm still going through the divorce. But I've been living separate from my husband for 4 years.
How you been separate? Like living separate?
Living separate. It was September 2019. I was still pregnant with our youngest child. She'll be 4 next month in January. And I left in
How many children do
September.
you have, sweetheart?
Hmm?
How many children do you have?
We have 2.
You have 2 children.
A 5-year-old and like I said, a 4. She'll be 4 next month.
5 and 4. Okay. And you all separated when you were pregnant with the youngest one.
Yes.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It was hard.
Do you mind being a little bit more specific about
Of
the reasons behind what got you separated from your husband?
Sure, I don't have an issue with yeah. Basically, it was his mouth, the way
His mouth.
his mouth. Not it wasn't none of this, and honestly, it wasn't even a infidelity thing. It was the way he talked to me, the way he handled me. If I open to you things he knew about me that I spoke to my husband. I told to my husband in secrecy and privacy my hurts, things that traumas I've been through growing up. You think you feel safe to express yourself to your spouse, but when mad they come, that's why that's such and such and such did this, and that's why XYD did that, and it just became a lot. And even after I separated, I was still, because of course, like I said, who leaves with 30-year-old woman with a 1-year-old, big pregnant with a second child, just throws their marriage away.
It's a lot of them, actually.
And you know what? This is the thing. Back to the mindset. That's why I'm like, because when I left the house, and it's so funny. I was just talking to his mother 2 days ago. I said I left the house, but I never left the marriage. I never abandoned the marriage. I was still, let's do therapy, let's do counseling. Well, we can do counseling over the phone, just like I'm talking to you. You know everything you can do to the phone these days. I said, yeah, well, if you don't have time, we can do it over your lunch break. XYZ. Still trying to make it right. I physically left the environment because it was negative and draining to me. And it was hard. Like I said, I'll be no good to my daughter, because we have 2 daughters, if I'm being drained and pulled down in a toxic situation. So I took myself out of the situation, me and my daughters out of the situation with hopes of rebuilding. You know what I'm saying? Just, okay, let's step back. And okay, let's do therapy, counseling. What things can we do to rebuild?
What was his response to your request for counseling?
You don't have time.
For 4 years. Was that his only response to that?
Yes. It's always been the answer. He doesn't have time, or he didn't have time. He was working too much. That's when I suggested the video chat, because mind you, I was going through therapy. Because I was going through therapy, and I would do it just like on the phone. I have my therapy sessions, on the phone. I never had to leave the house because I was pregnant, and I'm grateful that I work from home. I work from home since before COVID, so I've always been basically at home, and I had the I was able to go through my therapy, everything through the phone. So I told him the option is there, the flexibility is there. He didn't want to do it.
Did he attempt any other way to address your issue in that marriage?
No, I'll tell you this: the last time I talked to this husband of mine, now mind you, it was in July. Now mind you, I'm going through the divorce, but I been attempting to because I'm still going through the divorce, but I've been trying to do this for probably about 2 or 3 years. Make it difficult because we have young children. Like whenever I'll talk to the judge, she'll say X Y Z, and and 2 young children. So I'm I guess she's trying to give him all of his opportunities to respond to my request on my divorce paper, but he never reached back. But nevertheless, he called on Facebook, so I don't even have a telephone number. And I told him, I said, I'm moving. If you want, we can give it. We can be together for our daughters. I said we need to be together for our children. I said that we can rebuild our marriage. That would be
So let me
ideal.
ask you a question. I'm sorry to stop you.
No, you're
So
fine.
you all at this point are not in communication with each other to the point where you don't have his personal phone number?
That is correct. The last time I physically saw him, me and our daughter, we physically saw each other and exchanged words was in July. And that's when I told him we're moving because of course when I left him I went to my parents' house. So I was there until within the past like 6 months we actually moved because I was pregnant with 2 young children going through. So I had to basically I had to
What
rebuild. It
was
took about
his
3 years to rebuild.
reason for not giving you his contact information? Considering the fact that he has 2 small daughters with you.
I don't know.
He didn't tell you.
No. I guess I can't call him. His birthday was yesterday. I called on FaceTime just to let his daughter tell him happy
So
birthday.
how does he contact you when it comes time to communicate with you about seeing his children and what you do as a family unit?
Well, my telephone number has not changed, so he knows how to reach me when he wants to. I've never kept our daughters away. So
So he calls you
when he wants to.
and you aren't able to capture the number when he calls you?
I told you last time when he did call, it was on Facebook.
So every time he calls you, it's on Facebook, like,
Pre-
or some
this,
social
this is
media
this
type.
is new. This is the Facebook thing is relatively new. Prior to that, he had a telephone number, and I would call the number. Then one time the number was off, and then I saw you on TV. Okay, I know. It was off, and the phone number was off until all of a sudden I called it, and a totally different person picked up the phone. So they recycled the number at that point. And I asked for him, and they said the number is, you have the wrong number. And then at that point I couldn't do anything because I didn't have, I had no way to contact him until eventually, until eventually, until eventually he called on Facebook. But of course, that's not an actual telephone.
No, it's not a telephone. So, hey, sweetheart. So she just cute as she want to be.
This is
Hey,
the baby.
baby.
This is the one I was pregnant. She never lived with their daddy.
Um. So the last time y'all spoke, he called on from Facebook. That was in July, you said. So that was months ago in the summer.
This months ago.
When you asked him, "Hey, what's going on with your phone?" Because this Facebook thing, this is a little wonky. His response was,
Honestly, I didn't even get a chance to because they were so excited to see him. They took over the telephone, and I never got a chance. And by the time basically, I never got a chance to because basically they were running around there everywhere. And by the time I tried to get the phone, he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna call y'all tomorrow," and he didn't. He didn't. So I'm glad they're still kind of young as to where they don't remember too much, but they of course. I just try to distract them. Like our older, she just lost her two bottom teeth. She want to show him. I want to show daddy. I want to show daddy. I said, well, So when he calls, I'll let you show him.
Do you know where he is? Like where he stays, his address?
No,
No.
because that
So
I tried
he
to
has cut
serve him.
off communication with you.
Basically,
He's essentially said he doesn't want you like being able to reach him at your will when
correct.
you get ready.
That is correct. Because of course I had to serve him. The last address I had to serve him to, and I tried to serve him 3 different times, and all the paperwork came
To
back.
serve him like divorce papers.
Correct. I
And
served the
y'all have
first
been out of the
last
house
address
since.
together. The last address we had together, the papers came back. I tried to serve him at work, and they sent the papers back saying that he's never in the office. So basically, because the job he works, the work he does, he doesn't have a set place. He's works at different locations in like construction type of thing. He's an electrician, but nevertheless, he's always somewhere doing, at a different site. So that they sent the papers back saying that he's never in the that's physical office. So they sent that back to me. And the last time I sent to another address, a possible address where he could be in, those came back, and that was actually last week. I got those papers back.
Okay. So excuse me for please forgive me for sort of circling around because I'm just trying to make sense of what I'm hearing. And obviously this is a snippet, so we don't have any full information about your life. And I would never ask you to divulge more than what you're comfortable with.
Correct.
But I have to admit, it sounds a little interesting from my point of view because I'm an outsider, because I don't know the
Mm-hmm.
details, that a man that is essentially, from what you say, verbally abusive to you,
Yeah, the way he
um,
was
has cut you off from talking. He
correct.
doesn't want you to talk.
I, oddly enough,
Was that a two-way street, the verbal?
I I know I stand up for myself. I'll say that I can't say I do. I'll stand up for myself, and the words, will go back and forth. Even most definitely 4 years ago, before I had to do some maturing myself in regards to the whole, just everything. But so like I said, I would say words too. He would say something to me, I return it back, and everything. So I won't say I was a squeaky clean. Like I never did anything or never said words back. Or if you say this to me, okay, I try to say something back. I'm not gonna say that.
So these seem just like arguments, and you could correct me if this is not your perspective, but just from an outsider looking in and what I know of people in general,
Correct.
sounds like, I'm gonna tell you what it sounds like.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like he might have been a little bit sharp at the tongue with what was going on, especially if he liked to bring up stuff that you said in confidence that can be problematic.
Correct.
But at the same time, this seemed like mutual verbal combat. Like he say something and you gonna say something. And that's going to devolve into an argument where y'all are taking low blows at each other, which I always warn married couples not to do. You can
Correct.
argue about the issue, but you can't take low blows because it begins to build a resentment outside of whatever the issue was that you were arguing about, because you don't forget what somebody said to you in the heat of an argument, because that's more often than not, that's really how they be feeling whenever
Correct.
they get hot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the emotions come up, and then they say something to cut your throat just cut. And we can get over maybe what we argued about, but in the back of my mind, I'm gonna
Mhm.
remember that you called me a so and so so and so.
Correct.
They gonna remember that you called them a so and so so and so, and that
Yeah.
you said such and such to
There we
them
go. Right
in
here.
the heat of what was going on. For him to cut you off from communication, to not allow you to have his personal phone number, to not allow you to know where he stayed, to
Mm-hmm.
not allow or to reject somehow divorce papers served to him even at work, This is an indicator that not only did you feel verbally abused, he felt it as well. He felt
That's what his mother would
that
tell me. That,
you do too much.
that's
So
what that
he don't want to hear that from you.
would talk to her. She was like, she said, y'all say the same thing. She said, y'all say exactly. He say the same that you do to him what you saying he do to you. And my response, I was like, well, I'm defending myself. If he comes at me sideways. And mind you, this is conversations of at this point 4 years old because this is where we're still in the home together. And I was like, yeah. So he said if he comes at me sideways, and eventually, yeah, I do return. I am, bitch. I'm not. On my in my offense or my defense, I was not the initiator. Like I will respond
You ain't
at
started, but
that,
you finished it.
but and for what I'm not saying that's the right fit, the right way to be, because of course now look at me. I'm 36 years old with two young children, and and going through a divorce. But at the time, that's how it was. Now, like I said, now mind you, I've been through the therapy, just the healing. Like I said, I've been separated 4 years. So at this point, when we did talk, prior from cutting this off, because the whole separation, we were totally not being able to contact with each other. We would talk, 'cause like I said, I was still pregnant. So I still carried the baby. I still, XYZ in the third. It wasn't until probably about the last year where he totally like came around when he wanted to. We probably seen each other twice within the past 2 years. And other than that, we phone contact, and then from there, like I said, the phone number no more. But
Whenever y'all used to talk, would it always, or 9 times out of 10, devolve into an argument and y'all be mad at each other by the end of the contact?
at towards the after being separated, most definitely yes, because I'm trying to get resolutions. I will be like, okay, what are we gonna do? What can we do? Like I said, I'm trying to suggest therapy. You know, I said we get back together after therapy. We get back together, but we need to go to a new house. I think we should move somewhere different. We can start new. We can start fresh. These are things I'm telling him. Like I said, as separated, but these are when we are still talking. And like I said, I'm always as of trying to rebuild my marriage. I did not, like I left the house, not the marriage. I never abandoned my husband. I abandoned or I separated myself from the environment as to where it was a toxic or
Let me
always
ask you
back
this.
and forth. Yes, ma'am.
What was the main issue as the reason why you sought therapy? What were you trying to resolve? Mainly.
Trying to see if we could be in a place where
No,
somebody.
your
Oh, my
personal
specific
therapy.
therapy. Oh,
Yeah.
me personally was because it was a very low place. It was just trying to help me get a grasp of my own self, find myself to an extent, and get to a place where I can move forward. Because I still, whether husband of mine is present or not, I still have to raise my daughters. I still have to be of a same place to move forward. So we're just trying to seek sanity, a form
As
of
far as you know, do he want his kids? Like, does he want like at least joint custody of them? As far as you know.
I would say yes. The last when he did talk to the girls, Daddy love you, Daddy see you soon. He's telling them all the right things, and I never speak away from it. So yeah, Daddy will call you tomorrow. Daddy love y'all so much. All of those things, and I leave it at that. I don't. You ain't gonna call him out. I don't do that,
How
and I don't
willing
talk.
are you to allow him to get joint custody?
That's all. That's what's on the paper. If you ever get those papers, it's there. It's joint custody. I never. Everything is 50-50 on the paper. The paper I just got back in the mail 3 days ago. Everything on there is joint custody. I never would take them away from their father.
On
It's
a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being easy and 10 being hell on wheels, how difficult would you say, or those conversations are when you were having conversations, no matter what it pertained to, if he called for the kids or if he called for any other reason or you called him, how difficult or tumultuous or argumentative were those conversations?
I want to say 10, but I'll say like a strong eight, a strong eight. It was it's never if we start talking about something where a person has to work on self, where a person has to say, well, you know what, I might have a temper, or you know what, I might jump the gun, or I might have to count down from 10 before I say the thing that my initial thought.
Miss Lee, tell me about the day you moved out your house. What was going on?
It was 2 o'clock in the morning. It
What
was an
was
argument.
that day? What
It was
what what
argument.
happened in that day? Did you tell him? Did you warn him that that's what you was going to do? Did y'all have a conversation about it, an argument about it?
Mm-hmm.
Take me through the main points of that day. The day you decided I gotta go. I'm taking the kids with me.
It was it was very, like I said, it was 4 years ago, and it was very random. It wasn't planned. It was early in the morning, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of an argument. I just took my daughter. I took my big girl. At that time she was she had just turned a year. Her birthday, yeah, August. So she had just turned a year, and I wobbled out the room. And I went to my parents. They stayed across town, so so I had somewhere to go. And I never planned when I left. I never thought I would be gone 4 years.
Mm.
And you know what I'm saying.
So
You be
1 or 2 o'clock in the morning suggests a bad argument that
yeah,
was probably going on for quite some time before it reached a crescendo. And
around.
at 1 or 2 o'clock, early wee hours in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
you gathered yourself and you gathered your baby. And you said you went to your parents' house across town? Okay.
Yes,
How long did you stay with them?
I just moved out about 6 months ago.
6 months ago.
I
So
stayed. I was there. Like I said, I left not thinking I would be gone. I left, but not thinking I would be gone 4 years. And I just to the point where I said, okay, because at this point, my girls, they're bigger. They need their own space. Like I said, they're 5 and 3. So I went and I just got my own place. And like I
did he
said, I
move
talked to him.
on?
I welcomed him to our new home
Did he
together.
move on? Miss Lee, did he move on in the 4 years? Has he moved on?
I never know him to be with another woman or be with somebody else. Like I saw him with a woman, or he pulled up to pick up the girls with another woman in a car or anything like that. No. So I don't know of his personal life like that. I don't
Do
know.
it seem like he wants a relationship with you? Because from the outside looking in, and I'm sorry if this is hurtful, because I know it's got to be hurtful, and I'm not trying to hurt you,
It is.
but I have to sort of ask certain questions because this might be helpful to you, and
Hmm.
it may be helpful to other people who might be going through a similar situation. Because divorces are not easy. I've watched them up close,
Hmm.
and they are very difficult
Hmm.
most of the time for
Hmm.
either party.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm trying to be as delicate as I can, but also auntie.
Of course, yes, man. No, I appreciate you, and I honestly respect you. I was calling, really, like I said, just to give you your flowers and tell you keep doing what you do, and it turned into this. But yeah, I appreciate you, and like I said, your
Mm,
insight.
no problem, and I appreciate it. I'm not gonna hold you too much longer because I'm gonna have to go in a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
But as an outsider, this is what it looks like. Is that this relationship, this marriage that you had with him, was mutually combative verbally, and I said that earlier on in the
Hmm.
call. Mutually combative, mutually like you got one, I got one for you. You got something to say, I definitely got something to say back. So
Hmm.
I'm not gonna let you talk to me X, Y, and Z without me giving you A, B, and C. And it reached a point as to where almost probably anytime y'all talked, it was gonna start devolving into some type of back and forth,
I
even if
I
it
understand what you're saying because
wasn't
we both
horrible.
already on edge. We both
Yeah.
on defense all the time.
All
because of
defense all the
past.
time. I've watched those types of levels of communication become extremely toxic, where you can't communicate. The two of you can't communicate.
Yes.
Period. Without somebody getting snarky, somebody gonna get snippy, somebody gonna say something and feel away.
Yeah.
Well, why you say it like that? Well, why you do? What you
Mhm.
say it like that to me for? Why you gotta have an attitude?
Yeah, it's
Whatever
all
it
yeah.
is, the straw that broke the camel back became lighter and lighter, the level of straw that was needed
Yeah.
to
I
break a
can yeah.
camel's back. 4 years ago, the camel's back broke. You may not have intended to not have this marriage, but the behavior leading up to that said otherwise. That man, whoever he is and whatever his fault is in this situation, he feel, I'm gonna tell you why he don't want to talk. Because he emotionally can't take it either. He mentally can't, he's done.
Yeah.
He's done. He's done. He the communication has become so bad, he would rather completely not communicate at all in any reasonable fashion
Mhm.
rather than every time y'all talk, y'all got to go at it because now you really gonna go at it because you've been gone for 4 years and just moved out of your parents' house recently to get your own spot. Don't look like he's trying to really talk or get the relationship back together. He done
Mhm.
swerved counseling, so he's done with it. The communication is too bad. Whether
Mhm.
he need to work on it or you need to work on it or both, it's actually don't matter at this point. The communication is devolved and degraded to such an extent that it don't matter whose fault it was no more. However, this is what I'll say to you, Miss Lee.
Mhm.
Not necessarily even in regard to your marriage that you had. Communication will make a marriage survive or it will kill it, one way or the other.
Yes.
Having something to say every time a man say something,
It's
will
not even
kill
worth
it.
it.
It'll kill it.
Yeah. I understand though,
We
because I
can't
understand that
do it.
now.
We can't do it. Even if the men are a little bit abrasive, because been raised around manly men and they're not necessarily soft in what they say. The thing that you have to determine is whether or not what they're saying or how, not necessarily how the tone that they talking in,
Mhm.
but whether or not their instruction or their criticism or whatever it is that they have is coming from a place of love and wanting to do better and for y'all to do better, or is it coming from a place of hatred and disdain for you? Because those two things are very different. My
Correct.
father, for example, my father was a kind of a hardcore man, a street dude. He didn't have a whole lot of soft words. So when he criticized us, when he had constructive criticism for us, a lot of times it was hard to hear it because he was so blunt. He
Mhm.
was just so blunt. He didn't have no sugarcoat at
Yeah.
all.
See,
It
but
was
that's not the part. It's not even that. My grandmother, I was raised on blunt, direct to the point, and that's kind of why I'm kind of like that too. My grandmother's like that. It wasn't the fact that he would. It's not even his tone per se. It was when he would say things intentionally to hurt me. The thing that is what it was. If you know, if you know, because I share with him basically stuff, I'll be like, I told him like, why did I should have never told you that because you bringing up things that you know will intentionally hurt me. Not oh babe, I don't like it when you cook the beans like this, cook them like this instead. Nothing like that. Not that it was stuff and we talking and you mad at me. So when you get mad, now that's why your daddy was in your life when you was little. He ain't come back till you was older. What that have to do with what we talking about? Or you know what I'm saying? Just that's why. Like what that have to do with the fact the oil need to be changed in the car? You know what I'm saying? Because the check engine light on or something. Like it be stuff like that. It's not even relative. But just trying to
Mhm. And I get you. I understand you. The reason why I guess gave you the advice that I just gave you was because I too am sensitive to verbal stuff. I endured verbal abuse my entire childhood, so I'm extremely sensitive to when somebody's saying something with a little tone, and it's like, so I'm giving you this advice from a person that's very sensitive to it, but that also had to learn some discernment about it as well. I'm giving you this advice to move forward with, not to look backwards with,
Yes.
because you're going to be sensitive now to it. So, any man now that comes to you and he has some critique, because different men have different methods of saying what they're saying and doing what they're doing. Some men are softer, some men are more blunt, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to help you get to, and hopefully you will get to it in time. You may not get this today. You might get it a year from now.
Okay.
But I'm going to give it to you today. And then I'm going to end the show.
Yes, ma'am.
But what I want to give to you is this. Sensitive or not, this is why I said have the discernment of where it is coming from when he talk to you. Because you may meet a man that check every box you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he might be blunt. You sensitive to that now, though.
Okay. Okay. I
You're
get what you're saying.
sensitive to that kind of critique and stuff like that. So you may take that in a way he don't mean to give it to you.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
My
Just because
advice
of my nerve, just because of
is
my
to
spidey
get
senses might go
it's
off with
all right.
something and
It's
take
all
it
right, baby.
because of what I've experienced. I
Mm,
think a person may not mean it that way, but
right.
I may take it that way just from jumping the gun. I understand. Okay, I understand. You
Because you're
understand?
sensitive to stuff right now. I would not even be trying to date nobody right now if I was you. I know time is ticking, but that's the reality of things right now, right? You got two little ones. You're not even completely legally out of the marriage that you in. And
Correct.
at this point in time, getting to know another man or date another man or anything from another man, it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I felt that. I've thought about it. I felt it because I you know
Because you just want the
friendship,
masculine energy around you. And that's perfect. That's normal,
but
right? I'm
it's
not gonna
not.
shame you for it. It's just not a good idea.
I no, I agree with you. I've had with my good friend, best friend, and I'm like, it's not like I said, it's not a good time. It's not. So my girl's still young. I still have legal stuff to deal with. It's just not like you said. It's not the right time. And I've told myself that. It's just you know,
Yeah. So
it is
so
what it
so
is.
the advice I've given you today, I recognize that you're in a vulnerable state emotionally. I advise you to come back every couple months and look at this clip and see, can you pick up what you need to pick up from it, and if you're ready to pick up certain stuff from it. I promise you, my questioning to you was not to put you on the spot or make you look bad or put the
I called
blame or
you.
none of that kind of stuff. This is what I do in counseling. I want everybody to understand that this is the line of questioning. Actually, this is a soft line of questioning. All right, I softballed her. And people that I've counseled can tell you this questioning is a lot different in a one-on-one phone call. But I just wanted to be able to give you my perspective as the outsider looking in without no other context than what you gave,
Mm-hmm.
to give you a little bit of insight as much as possible into why you're where you are today. Because if we don't do nothing else, we got to learn lessons, right?
Yes.
Or else we end up in the same cycle. And that's what people got to understand. People get stuck in cycles when they don't learn.
Correct.
So we have to learn whenever we get caught in any kind of cycle, whether that cycle make us happy or it hurts us,
Mm-hmm.
or especially when it hurts, to learn the lesson of that pain so that we can avoid that pain going
Most
forward. Now
definitely.
we may get another pain, but let it be different. We don't want to have the
Most definitely,
same
yes. Most
pain
definitely.
later on. You understand? But
Yes.
I'm glad that you came up. I thank you for your vulnerability, Miss Lee, and your willingness to talk to me at this point about something that's so sensitive to
Yeah.
you. So I thank you, sweetheart. I wish you the best. I'm gonna pray for you
Please
and your
do.
family, and I'm gonna bid you a good night, sweetheart.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And thank you so much for all you do. I appreciate you. You have a good night.
All right, you too. All right. So because I'm running over way over time, I'm not gonna take no other callers. I wanted to take one more, but I'm two over time and I gotta go. So I apologize to those of you who are in the background waiting. I'm really sorry. Let me get into the rest of these super chats, and then I'm gonna end the show. So thank you, Big Ben. Said men can't be victims of women was so powerful. Jonathan Majors called the police and ran from the victim for about half a mile on video. But like you said, men can't be victims of women. It cannot. Thank you, N.O. DeBoss. Says sis, you have to figure out a way to address the literal necromancy in the music that's got our sisters on literal demon time. New term androgynous. Thank you, HVAC. Accountability is kryptonite to women. I'll be tuning next Friday for the call in. My voice is out due to cold weather. Y'all stay warm. All right. Thank you. Steppen said Black women don't realize they are subliminally advocating for Sharia. That actually they are. Thank you, Terrence. I love your show. Tune in daily. I was late. I'll call in next week. I was late. Women swear they're perfect until they see Medusa in the mirror. Thank you, Big Ben. Said Kendra, the calls appear to be freezing on your stream. Yeah, StreamYards get stupid anytime that they're, it's doing its function and then it gets stupid. My apologies, everybody. Thank you, Gloria, for your super sticker. Thank you once again. Big Ben said, Kendra, bring the husband on the show. Y'all like Unc. We gonna get Unc together. We gonna get it together with Unc. Thank you, Southside Militia said, you're not off crimson. My ex-wife was wrong and kept having issues. Modern society has given Eve the fruit. She thinks she's God, thus her hate for the representation of God on earth, the man. Thank you once again, HVAC. I would suggest doing a private convo, her and him. Thank you, Big Sneeze. Hey, it's been a minute since I seen you, Big Sneeze. And we need this kind of counsel and patience in the community. Thank you so much. Thank you, Unlearn to Relearn, for your super sticker. I appreciate everyone's contribution. I appreciate all the callers, the ones I got to and the ones that I was not able to get to. But thank you so much to everybody. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you all think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.